Gonna try it again. I think I have the Wi-Fi issue resolved. Oh, look at that. I'm a little... Look. We're gonna try this again. Can't promise it'll work any better than it did the last time. Well, hello. Who do we have here? Hello again, Jessie. Wi-Fi issues, I think I finally have them fixed. Maybe Sheena will come back. Maybe my mom will come back. I can actually talk about this mess. Well, you're here. So while we're waiting for other people to join, if they join, we can talk about how things went here. So what questions? Do you have any questions? How are you, Jessie? Glad to hear it. Any diving lately for you? Outstanding. Where are you taking it? Oh, wow. Wow, I'm jealous. I'm all right. I'm not jealous. I'm an Abaco, but I mean, wow, Playa del Carmen, that's amazing. You were at the car wash today. I do remember you saying that. So I'm assuming that the water is much warmer there than it is here. Although it very well could be very similar. 74, 75 degrees? Probably, yeah. So I was expecting, because we are in the Bahamas, that the water would be warmer. No. Florida spring systems tend to be about 68 to 72 degrees all year long. The Abaco system here is 74 degrees. That's it. It was cold. Who else jumped on? I was in a 3 mil and a little chilly. I was in a 7 mil and I was good until I wasn't, and then I was cold. I made it about an hour before I started getting cold. But a 7 mil, I need some layers, man. Mike, I swear, Mary Beth is here. 74 is not warm. What's wrong with you, woman? It's cold. Mike, I am not ignoring your messages. I've just been slammed since we got off of or out of the van today. As you can tell, I'm tired. And I head home tomorrow, and I don't want to. So, I know y'all have questions. I know you have questions. I have questions. What questions do you have about my time here in Abaco? Because we is definitely coming to an end. If not, I'm just going to start spilling the beans. So, day one was okay. No real issues. Did a nice intro dive. Saw part of the cave. Brian showed me some really cool stuff. I am heartbroken for me too, Mike. So the long and the short of this story is that I signed up to do my full cave. I had done cavern and intro to cave with Doug Ebersol. Things went well. I signed up to do full cave with Brian all the way in November. Now, mind you, I signed up with Brian probably April, May. So it's been half a year. After the meetup, an opportunity came where Jonathan Bird and I were going to do a collaboration for his channel and my channel, but that required full cave. And I didn't have full cave yet. I was only, at that point, I hadn't finished intro. And where we were going to do this collaboration was at Eagle's Nest, so it would have required full cave. So I then reached out to Doug and was like, Doug, if I have to be full cave to participate in this collaboration with Jonathan Bird, then I need your help. I ran headlong into this, and we quickly routed myself toward getting full cave. And one of the days when we went through all the requirements for full cave, I had a mad headache, and it left me with, I took some Excedrin, and that did me in. I was no good for several hours. We're literally at, I want to say Peacock. Oh my goodness. We were at Peacock, and I could not, I was a walking wreck. And I'm sitting in my car, Doug's sitting in his car, Doug's doom scrolling Facebook, and I am sleeping in the driver's seat. Parked, but I was sleeping. Just trying to sleep off how I felt. And then come to find out the dates for this collaboration were not going to work for me because I already had an obligation in Baltimore. So when that didn't work, our dates couldn't continue. We finished every requirement for full cave except for a third location. Sorry, Brian just texted me. He was supposed to be sending me pictures, and it looked like he did. Anyway, let's see. You need to get some deep sleep. Listen, this story is longer than I have patience. But so we had the dates set for the collaboration. Those dates didn't work for me. We finished all the requirements for full cave except for the third location. You're supposed to do 3 separate cave systems. And I had did 2. So I did all the skills required, missing one particular system. So I thought, okay, Brian, let me level with you. I have done all the required skills, all the required drills. I was missing one location. I don't know if that means you want to do something else or if we have to start over or however that works. So in that, Brian and I were just going to start over and do full cave all the way. And that's when all hell essentially broke loose. So I get here, and day 1 we do the intro dive, swim around, see what's in the cave, go through the halocline for my first time, which is super weird. And then we get out, plan day 2. Day 2, I had my first issue. My first issue was one of the canister heads where the O2 goes into the system. The piece that connects to the head is stripped, and I fail a bubble check because bubbles are like pouring out of this port, like everywhere. And I'm lucky that I didn't flood my unit, but bubbles everywhere, dives over. So we get back to the shop and swap out my spirit head for a Sidewinder head. It fits, and we did a little bit of surgery, moved some hoses, fixed it. I also knew that my O2 shutoff valve was not operating the way it was supposed to, and I'd been asking people for help with that piece for quite a long time. Nobody wanted to listen. Everybody said it was working. I said, no, it's not. Nobody wanted to help me prove it. Brian helped me prove it. My O2 shutoff valve does not work. Period. So we swapped my O2 shutoff valve for his. Hey, it works remarkably. Go figure. I like it when I prove myself correct, you know? You're scheduled for full cave in February. That's awesome. I think you will kick major booty here in Cavern and full cave. I am proud of you. If I could get through this, anybody can. Holy Toledo. So then we do all that surgery, and then day 3, we go into our safety check. Now, mind you, every day, every blessed day, we do our checks in the morning at the shop, right? Positive check, pass. Negative check, pass. 100% O2 check, pass. We get to the site, don our gear, get in the water, go to do bubble checks and safety drills and all of that. The unit fails again. It looks like that my counter lung is leaking. Bubbles everywhere. We get out, we check my O-rings, nothing. There's nothing to be found. My O-rings are just fine. We try to get back in the water, try to shake it, find a way to resolve it. It was fine. Then it started pouring bubbles again. Brian's like, I can't take you into the cave and you end up with a caustic and you kill yourself. I mean, just that's a no, non sequitur, non-starter, non anything. So back to the shop we go, take it apart, dunk the whole thing after we get it taken apart. Parts look fine. The lung itself, the balloon essentially, absolutely fine. Cannot find a tear, not a snag, not a pinhole, not a nothing. So we get it submerged in water, over inflate it, look for bubbles. Nothing. Nothing. Not a thing. So then we put everything back together and I'm like, look, if this is what I'm running into, we're just going to completely tear the system down, clean it, start over. So I take my entire spirit apart, clean it, lube it, refill, sorb, put it back together, start the process all over again. And then pass my positive, pass the negative, we're good to go. Next day, same thing. Go to the shop in the morning, pass a positive, pass a negative, pass 100% O2, get out to the dive site. My computer is not computing when we get in the water. I'm not reading appropriately for O2. I'm not reading appropriately for anything else. Millivolts are all over the place and looking wonky. So we go back up to the top, get on the picnic table. Luckily, I brought extra sensors with me and we replaced a bad sensor. Now that was an ordeal in itself because my coaxial cords to plug into the sensors are super short. So we go to take those apart, figure out what cell is bad because they're also mislabeled, get the right one, find a spare that is reasonable in millivolts and put it back together and waste an entire 13-liter bottle of O2 trying to troubleshoot. We finally get this thing to read correctly. Sounds like CCR Cave Gods just did not want to give you. You are not wrong. Like Mike, I was crying. I was crying in my shoes. I was sad. I was frustrated. I was feeling like a failure, even though none of this had anything to do with me or my skill. I was sad. I was a sad little girl. So we get to the point where both of us are just like, I don't know what else to do. We've run out of time. We've run out of runway. I need 4 dives. There's no way to pull off 4 dives. Now, had Brian not had obligations at home, could we have gone later into the day? Very possible. But the man does work for a living, and I'm not going to impose later hours on him because he has a life. And just because this is his business and he lives at his business does not mean he doesn't have boundaries. The man has to have his own time. So when all the failure points kept happening, the only thing we could really do was chalk it up to, look, for whatever reason, the universe is screaming it's not happening. So that's all right, Sam. I'm just glad you're here. How you doing? So we get back to the shop. Everything is put together, pass all the tests, positive test, negative test. Millivolts look good on this use sensor that I already been using. And mind you, the sensor that went completely kaput on me was a brand new sensor. Sometimes that just happens. So we positive, negative, 100% O2, all those tests pass. And both of us are just kind of like dumbfounded. And Brian's like, I'm afraid of your unit. I'm like, okay. So my plan is I already have to send in the head, right? Because that piece is stripped and they're going to have to do surgery on the head. So then what we'll do from that point is it's time for service. So I'm going to package up my unit and send the entire thing to KISS and have the whole thing serviced stem to stern. And I'm sure it's going to cost me a pretty penny, but I have done nothing but baby this machine since she has become mine, and I don't want any more issues with this thing. I just want to be able to assemble it and do my tests and get in the water. So today we were going to do Dan's Cave and Ralph's Cave, depending upon the time. So today we ended up doing Dan's Cave, and Brian showed me all sorts of cool shit. The cool thing about what we did see is this place is a cornucopia of mazes and jumps and just amazing moves that you can make all over this cave. So we go down into the initial, how many hours were on it when you adopted her? About 60. So my unit is from the Cayman Islands. It is a minimalistic spirit. So it's known as the Cayman unit. It does not have traditional straps. It has 3D printed boxes that snap into the pieces on the spine, if you will, or because it's not the plate. The plate is attached to it, but the spine of the unit, if you will, and then you're able to almost like click. I mean, they're 3D printed, so you snap them together for them to affix to each other. And that's how my canisters work, how my O2 works. So they all have these boxes on them where they snap together. Tab A goes into slot B kind of thing. Very genuinely smart engineering, but it is definitely different than the rest of the Spirit line or even the Sidewinders. I mean, there are no straps and buckles to this unit at all. The only other person that I know who has one of these units is Liz, and she may have even modified hers by now to where she doesn't have those. Honestly, I don't know if she's removed those or not. But it's time for service, so we're just gonna send it to KISS, let them stem to stern, do the whole thing. Obviously, they still have to fix the head, but they'll have other things to address too. But today we did get to go into Dan's cave. I did the primary and secondary tie off. What I am noticing about myself is I have great trim and buoyancy when things are set to where they need to go and don't have to move. The second that I remove something and move that weight somewhere else on my person, it offsets my stability. So if I have my primary and secondary, or my safety, well, let's call it my primary and my secondary on my right side and two safety reels on my left side, when I remove my primary and move it into the front of my body, it changes how everything is distributed, and then my buoyancy is no longer happy. And I am super sensitive to weight moving anywhere. So if I don it and leave it alone, I can sit still all day. The second that I need to move it and take that primary reel and, I don't know, use it to lay the primary and the secondary tie off to get to the gold line, that's where my body's like, woo. So I need to practice. I need to practice not only laying the line, but finding a focal point and sticking with it. And Gus has given me good advice about this. Brian has given me good advice about this. I've had some other folks give me some good advice about this. What I'm going to do is don the kit that I'm going to use to dive for cave diving. Then I'm going to go find some water. I don't care where it is. It doesn't need to be a cave, but I will be able to go find a focal point, stick my nose on it, or line it up level with my eyes and move things, right? Take my primary and secondary off. How does that impact my buoyancy? Find ways to compensate. Also, being able to run the line and stay stable. So finding a place to tie off, swimming past it, swimming, back finning, right? Do back kicks and move away from it, but staying parallel, keeping the line parallel, and keeping the focal point either at my eyes or my nose and going back and forth and forth and back, to find ways to compensate to build that stability when you're task loading. It is harder than it sounds. Is that something that will improve with repetition? So it's an interesting question, Mike, to be honest with you, because I feel like if you practice it incorrectly, you're going to continue to do it incorrectly. So if you practice it correctly, then you can work on repetition, comfort through repetition, and building the skill to do it the right way. But if you practice something incorrectly, you're still just going to do it wrong. My instructor had us doing a bunch of random drills to work on buoyancy today. Good. That makes a lot of sense. The hard part about that is that moving, think about it. Your primary reel has, at least for cave, should have 400 feet of line. So it is not an inconsequential reel. It is a larger reel. It has some weight. Now, your secondary is not as large, doesn't require as much feet, but it too is somewhat substantial in weight. Your safety reels or your jump reels, or spools are not going to have as much weight. But think about it. You're also, if you're using a canister light, where is that going? Is that going on your side? Is that going on your back? Is that we initially had the battery to the canister light affixed towards my butt where my O2 tank is. It made me so butt heavy that I was 15 degrees in the water when you need to be you need to be flat, right? You need to be 0 degrees. So we moved it and moved it between my canisters. That helped immensely. So that definitely went a long way towards making me feel stable. Now, we were diving 80s. We were diving aluminum 80s. So I've been diving either 40s or 50s, which when you change to 80s is slightly different. They're massive. They're massive cylinders at your side. And part of the issue I was having today is that instead of the tanks being parallel with my body, the back sides were floating up. So in order for me to fix that or change it, I either need to change the leash and shorten it, or I need to find a way to change the position on my body where that D-ring is, which where they are on my crotch strap on the sides are my strap for my BC. Essentially, they're not movable. So the only solution that I would have been able to make work is either changing the leash on the double enders or the bolt snaps for that portion of the cylinders, or I'm going to have to put on movable D-rings on my straps there, which I only have one movable D-ring on my right side. I have none on my left. Practice makes perfect isn't always true. Correct. It's not. You have to practice the skill the correct way. Otherwise, you're just going to continue to do it the wrong way, which isn't always correct, truth be told. But so today we did see a lot of stuff. We did a jump through, which was super cool, weird, but super cool, through the halocline. And if you've never been through a halocline, it is interesting where it is absolutely a visual disturbance where you have freshwater and saltwater meet. It is far worse than a temperature change where when you see the colder water below you and you can see the wavy lines where this is like times 10. It is super weird, but it's cool. I don't know how to describe it any other way. I have the X Deep adjustable D-rings. They work, but I'm thinking of going back to the rubber type. I've never used the rubber type. I don't know how effective that would be in, in donning side mount tanks. But you'll have to tell me how you feel about it. Do you feel a buoyancy change? Yes. Oh my gosh. So if you are not weighted properly when you hit a halocline, you're going up, dude. And if you're not careful, especially in Dan's cave, you're going to hit the ceiling. So you need to be prepared for hitting the halocline, and your weight either, you've got to be good with your buoyancy and otherwise you're going up. And there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Luckily, with my entire kit, typically I use 0 weight, even in a 7 mil, because I just am a freaking rock. A dill tank, a bailout tank, an O2 tank, the Kiss Spirit plus Sorb. I am a solid dead weight. I'm heavy. So what? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what you mean. Patrick! Oh my gosh, I'm so happy that I was able to dive today. Like I saw all sorts of cool stuff. So we went through the Badlands today. So we took a jump in the halocline itself, right? Able to C, so interesting enough, when you do a jump, the person, team member number one, or your lead line person, they're going to go do the jump, they go over, then you cross. On the way back, you both agree that this is the jump. Yes, this is it. Then the team member who is not removing the line, because first out, first in, last out, you keep the order. Everybody doesn't switch and then move back around. You just literally turn around and reverse the order. And so we agree this is the jump. I'm then going across and following the jump because you can't see much in a halicline. And you're crossing the line, and I'm keeping my body parallel to the line, and I'm like, oh, look, there's my marker. I have reached, thank goodness, I have, thank you, Mary Beth. I have reached the end of the jump. I'm able to remove my marker, tell Brian I made it, I'm good to go, and then he can remove the jump, which in a halicline, it's just new skill for me, but bizarre, because doing it in a halicline, it's a visual disturbance. So you're just kind of like jazzed because it's different. So we do the jump in the halicline, we head towards the Badlands, and he's got markers everywhere, and there's double arrows everywhere because there's jumps everywhere. This place is full of, you could see this place every day for weeks and still not see everything. So it was incredible to be able to see things, and the formation. Oh my God, the formations, dude. I can't even begin to express just how mind blown I am around the formations, the crystals. So initially on our fun dive, the initial guided dive we did day one, there was some crystal formations. He's, using his light, shining through it. Cover your light, meaning making everything dark so you can see better what this is illuminating. And yes, there was some crystal, but there was more solid white formations, or say tan colored formations. You can see in some areas where the change not geographically, the change in the ice ages, essentially, where things have melted and reformed, or the cave had gone dry and filled back up with water. You can see the lines and where those changes had occurred, and the formations in some of these places. Like there's one of them that they affectionately call Aristotle, because it essentially looks like the face of a guy looking up at the stars. And then next to it, there's another formation that looks like a witch, and it was super cool. And then we get around to one of the ledges that has all the Sahara dust on it, and Brian's like making it move, and it's like swirling beautifully in the water, and it's just insane. But some of the other stuff we saw today was a corkscrew. Like literally, how in the world the stalactites and the stalagmites find their way through thousands of years of drips and pressure and changes in environment for these things to form perfectly the way that they do is just insanity to me. So the corkscrew was beautifully colored. It was white and red, and it literally looks like a corkscrew. Or if you think about like a roller coaster going down into a circle, it was just beautiful. There was a restriction that was interesting. I probably get way too excited about restrictions than one person should, but even back mount with the Spirit on my back, we were able to fit through the initial restriction, where you almost have to lay on top of the rocks or the rock formations and drop your head, drop your shoulders, and pour yourself over this ledge to fit. And then there's other places. The best thing to do when someone is guiding you through their cave that they have guided people through for 17, 20, 30 years is do what they do. right? So when the smarter people are showing you how to do things, mimic them. Do exactly what they do. So there's a couple of places where you have to watch your body position and your tank position, and you can't do full-fledged frog kicks. You're literally doing modified flutter kicks where you're just moving your feet barely, and you're just like beep 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 beep, not, not doing full frog kicks, but just teeny tiny micro movements just to give you enough propulsion to get through. Otherwise, you're going to knock something over. And then thousands of years are broken in one foul frog kick. And I'm sure you're going to cry, Brian's going to cry, or he's not going to invite you back into his cave. And some of the areas, I'm sorry, who are you? How are you? Am new to your channel. Oh, haha, I read that incorrectly. Forgive me. Um, my name is Terry. For those who've not been here before, some people call me Terry Lynn. Some people call me Scuba Girl Terry. Some people just say, hey, you. Mary Beth Cooper could probably get away with that. Or bish, fish, whatever. It don't matter. Um, but welcome. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for joining. Some of the other formations, just mind blowing. When you're going through Badlands, I don't know how to describe it. There's so many sharp pieces coming from the floor and stalactites and stalagmites everywhere. You have pillars coming down from the ceiling. There were actual crystals in some of the areas that we crossed today. Like Brian was taking his hand and is like, here, touch it. Look, see, it's crystal. There were several places some places almost were very reminiscent of, I don't want to say popcorn, that's probably not the right word, but there were areas that just looked like jagged edges and jagged rounded popcorn. I mean, how do you say, is it popcorn? I don't know. I don't feel like that was the right way to describe it. Who are these weird people joining? I don't even know how to respond to that, so I'm not gonna. Mike, have you been to this cave system? There is an area a part of it that's considered to be popcorn, but I can't confirm that. I have a very odd sense of visuals. I have a very odd sense of visuals when it comes to identifying things the same way people do. I don't know. But it was cool. We made it all the way through till I couldn't fit anymore. So that was probably the ping marker, just past ping marker number 5, in the Badlands, in heading into the Goodlands, and just incredible. I don't have words for it. It was super amazing. I will be back. I don't know when. If this does not happen before, I told him if he has a cancellation to call me, I'd jump on it. But if he has time open this time next year, because right now his earliest availability is like July. And this place in July is probably flippin' miserable. And I don't know that I'd want to be here in 90 plus degree weather trying to don a 7 mil plus gear plus tanks and then spending the time underwater. I mean, that's got to be a lot. So I will probably look at November, December, January, February again. and book another week. And hopefully by the time that I come back, it will be on the Sidewinder, if I'm lucky. Hard pass. I get that. It's just too hot. Even Brian was like, I'm gonna attempt to not do that kind of work in July, August, September, or maybe August, September when it's the hottest here. Mm-mm. The Sidewinder 2 will probably not be out until the latter half of next year. So late summer, July. I don't know that I'm gonna wait that long. The Kiss Go is not necessarily for cave diving. I mean, it could probably be used that way, but I'm not going to use it that way. Hey, Brandon, good to see you. Hang on a second, guys. Yet again. Yes, it is 30 more percent sorb. It does have some benefits. It does have some places where you're probably going to need some additional training, just some differences based on some of the explanation Patrick was given. Diving with Brian was pretty awesome. I'm multitasking, Patrick. That's the only reason. I apologize. That I'm in Abaco. The coverage here is not the greatest at all. But how was your dives today there, Patrick? Hi, Matthew. Jesse, Cozumel after Thanksgiving would probably be pretty amazing. This island is not crowded, but it is not a primary tourist island either. But Patrick was diving with Woody today. So yes, I was standing 10 feet from that. Well, not 10 feet. I was standing probably 5 feet from them when they were recording that bit. So am I leaving Abaco certified full cave? No. We did not get the full 4 dives done that needed to get done. Am I sad? Did I cry? Did I eat my feelings? Yeah. It sucks. It sucks pretty hard. But I'm going to go finish with Doug because I can't wait. I cannot, don't want to, do not want to wait. Period. So I'm going to go hang out with Doug Ebersol on the 10th and the 11th and finish up my cave certification. So then I can go practice and get much better. And Patrick, I hear you need some dive time in a dry suit. My dry suit is here now also, so I'm going to go get it tomorrow night. And then when my spirit comes back from Arkansas and being serviced, you want to go dive, let's go dive. And Miss Mary Beth, would you like to guess who called me yesterday and was like, I'm so proud of you. We should go cave dive together sometime. One of your favorite people. I'm curious to see if you'll guess who it was. No, not that one. But that would have been funny. DW. Right? Hi, James. I thought you'd get a kick out of that. Daryl Waltrip. Yes, absolutely. That's exactly who it was. I don't think he does either, but I mean, he's still a long-term cave diver. I had no idea how long he'd been diving. I'm like, why did you waste your time in the shop that you were in for so long then? There will be DPV jousting at some point. Not today. Not tomorrow. But I'm gonna have the boys. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. But I'd already told Gus and William, I'm like, look, there needs to be a rematch. I'm just saying, there needs to be a rematch. I feel like I need to take the tech diving glove and like challenge them to a duel. Pow! Did I just lay the gauntlet? I mean, did I? That has to occur in a cave, though, Mike. You know what? Even if they cheated, Mary Beth, I'm still gonna come after them. I'm gonna hit up Meddy and Ed, and I'm gonna be like, look, I need some cave DPV jousting skills. Let's go. No, 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 no. There will not be an open water jousting tournament. Girl, have no doubt. Have zero doubts. So I won't be leaving Abaco wearing my cave team jersey, but 2 weeks. Give me 2 weeks. I'm gonna finish this sucker. I won't wear my jersey before I'm fully certified. Oh, I love you, Mary Beth. You're the best. You need to come see the new house. Pay-per-view cave jousting. See, now you're talking, Sam. This is where we call Steve Luncheon, and he went live from help me out. It's late. An environment. What are those little things called? Why am I blanking? Habitat. Jeez Louise, that took long enough. I'm getting old. I'm getting old. He went live from a habitat. If he can go live from a habitat, I bet you we can figure out how to go live for jousting. They call those recognition cards. It's not a certification, but we'd have to write a course for it. But y'all, it is 10:30 and I've been up since 6 a.m. Anybody have any specific questions? Mike, Ohio. Even Matt Rife is like, Ohio, no go. I do remember you saying posting that about your back surgery, Brandon. Oh, it's a minor setback, right? Can you get back to a place where you can potentially be a cave diver? If you can get medically released, don't give up that goal. Mary Beth, you need to come see the new house. You need to come see the new house. Ask your questions. I'm getting sleepy, y'all. And I have a flight to catch tomorrow. I know you have been diving, but cave diving is a whole nother beast, my friend. I'm glad you're gonna come see the house. Hum. Are you proud of me? I don't know that I'm proud of me. I mean, I'm still standing. I haven't cried today. Thank you, Sam. I will definitely try to get some sleep. I wish that this was the right decision. The cave gods and the pick a god for that is over my unit just said nay nay. Too many issues. It's not happening today. I am trying to lead by example. So the whole thing about this channel and the purpose of my relaunch is after the things that have changed in my life, I want people to know, not just women, I want people to know that no matter how much adversity or change that life throws at you, you can absolutely get up off your feet, dust yourself back off, and move forward with your life in a meaningful way and be just as badass as you were before. I should probably still be in a fetal position somewhere, and I'm not. Brandon, I am glad you are a fighter, my friend. Continue to fight. If you believe it, if you put the energy into it, I think you will make a full recovery and hopefully be able to do all the things that you want to. And if that's cave dive, come cave dive. Get the training you need, get the physical therapy you need to get that foot doing what it's supposed to be doing. I would dive with you any day. When is the scuba shopping spree for Roxanne? I need to schedule that with her mom. We are going to put her in head to toe deep six. And this girl is tall. She needs some serious gear that's going to outlast her growth spurts. So I think deep six is going to be the right fit. We're going to put her in some deep six gear and get her signed up for class. Well, she wants to take class with me. So then we're going to do get her pool time signed up for and get all that happening. But she is a competitive swimmer. So right now is competitive swim season. So I need to work with her mom and we need to take a trip down to Forsyth. Nobody wants to go to Forsyth. It's in the armpit of Georgia. I love you to death. Landon, that place is in the middle of nowhere. But Deep Six has great gear, and that's what I want to put Roxanne in. And I want her to have good gear that will last and maintain and follow her dive journey with her. Damn. Okay. Hi, Tyler. Exactly. So we're going to get Roxanne kitted up. We're going to get her in her class, and I will make sure that you guys see that. But we are approaching an hour. Any other questions so I can go to bed? I need to wash my face and brush my teeth and go to bed. You live in the Pacific Northwest, Brandon. Where, do you mind me asking whereabouts? I spent 15 years in Seattle. And I'm sleeping past 6 a.m. Do. Come on, last questions. Shelton and Olympia. Okay. Luckily, I know where those two areas are. I spent most of my time in Issaquah and Bellevue. I have heard of Little Creek Casino. You know, Mike, if my oldest is having parties, he knows the rules. Get the strippers out. Don't let the neighbors call the cops. Don't let the fire department get called. Make sure the house is clean before I get home. You mess it up, you clean it up. Sorry, I'm the cool mom. Fair enough. All right, y'all, I'm beat. You invite the neighbors. Well, very cool, Brandon. Didn't know that. Yeah, Seattle will always have a piece of my heart. So, you know, I've done a lot of hiking and climbing throughout that great state in the Pacific Northwest. David, you finally make it, and I'm trying to go to bed. I'll hang out a few more minutes for you. But ask your questions. If you got questions, you got to ask them. Oh, for those of you who are still here, go check out Teach Me to Dive. They did a 2-part interview with me. They also did a 2-part interview with Gus and Woody. So you'll see their interviews there. And my second interview, my part 2, just dropped a couple days ago. So if you have not, go check out Teach Me to Dive. You'll get there, Brandon. Just don't give up. You know, one of the very first things that I tell all of my dive instructors, regardless of what skill it is that I'm doing, now that everything is hard, don't give up on me, and I won't give up. You can ask Woody. I've said that to Woody. And I said that to Woody on multiple classes when I went pro for open circuit. Don't give up on me. I won't give up. When I did CCR with Woody and he was my spirit instructor, shit is hard, is all I can say. Learning to dive CCR is like learning to scuba dive all over again, right from the beginning. I said multiple times with Woody, don't give up on me. I won't give up. I've said it to Doug Ebersol. I said it to Brian K. Cook. Don't give up on me. I won't give up. Did you watch them, Sam? I think that's fantastic. I didn't think anybody was going to watch my interviews. Who wants to listen to me talk? Nobody wants to listen to me talk. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys. So since most of you guys who are here are very much permanent hangouts with me, I have a brand new camera for my motorcycle. So when I get it attached to the bike, there will be some bike footage. Of course you watched both my interviews, David. I wouldn't expect anything less. That's awesome, Brandon. I'll check it out. Actually, CCR buoyancy control, in my opinion, is more easy than an open circuit. In open circuit, when you breathe, it impacts your buoyancy in the water column or where you sit in the water column. With CCR, the only downside to buoyancy or control being a pain is I got an X360 mic. The only difference about buoyancy being a pain is that if you clear your mask, you're diminishing your loop volume because this is all connected, right? So if you're breathing into the loop and your mask is impacting your breathing air spaces, so when you clear your mask, you're diminishing your loop volume. So that will absolutely reduce your buoyancy. But it's something to get used to, right? So initially when I started CCR, the idea of having to exhale to start to descend, you have to make sure all of your air is out of your BC, and then you have to exhale out of your loop, which is also tricky to get used to because when you are reducing loop volume, you have to do it through your mouth and not spit out your loop, because if your loop flies out of your mouth and it's not closed, you're going to flood your unit and then you're done. Have I ever ridden the Dragon's Tail? I have not. I do not feel that I am experienced enough to ride the tail of the dragon. So for me, that is 200 and plus twist, turns, switchbacks, and it is an incredible ride at 5-10 miles an hour. I am not comfortable enough in my skill set at this point in my motorcycle riding career, if we call it that, in my motorcycle riding journey to ride the tail of the dragon or the dragon's tail comfortably and not dump the bike. I am not confident in that yet. If I do the tail of the dragon, then I am going to end up doing it in the middle of the week, in the middle of the day when no one is around. You know, you can't imagine not closing the loop, but I've known people that have done it. I don't know. It's something absolutely ridiculous is what it is. 218 turns in 11 miles. It is insanity. Now, Patrick, if you want to take me, I would absolutely go because I trust you. I have ridden with Patrick before. He and I have ridden with Gus, and we need to get Woody back on a bike. I don't know that we're gonna, but we need to. But I now have an Insta360 that I'm going to mount to the handlebars of my bike and capture some ride footage. And I think that that will be an interesting add to what we do here. I'd say we need to do coffee, Patrick, but I know how you feel about coffee. You do not need to twist my arm to come to Seattle to dive, Brandon. I don't think you need to twist Gus's arm for that either. But Woody, that man is super busy, and I don't know. I don't know that we can get him out there, but we can try. His accident analysis book, Mike, the one that I recommended to you the other day. You know, Patrick, that doesn't surprises me none whatsoever. But he keeps threatening to get another bike after he sold his last one, but I don't see him slowing down with Big Blue Swim School, so I don't see how he would have time. And then his other daughter's getting married, so that's going to take up a whole nother year of his life too. So I do not see how that would work. P.S. Patrick, you should totally be my +1 for that party. It's going to be off the hook. Yeah, 3 years minimum. Yeah, I heard about the last time he was in Redmond, and I think he got to meet up with Yukon Sean. I still have family in Seattle. My youngest lives up towards Shoreline. My brother and his wife live off of Lake Washington and Renton, over by the Seahawks training camp. I have tons of friends there still. So people would be absolutely over the moon if I told them I was coming to dive. Any other questions, guys, before I go pass out for the night? I've got a date with an airplane tomorrow. And then I need to go pick up my dry suit. Now, see, July 4th is a difficult time for me to be in Seattle because typically my youngest is out in Atlanta with me. Well, go to bed. I was trying to hang out with you guys. Good night, Mike. All right, y'all. Have a wonderful evening. I will talk to you again soon. I now have a whole month worth of footage that I need to go tear through, and hopefully we'll be posting some stuff here soon. Thank you all for showing up. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful evening. I will see you guys next time.